Well, I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. There has been a change in our agenda. Unfortunately, Mr. Carson has what I've been told is a family emergency, and he was unable to attend today. So he obviously is free to request to be put on the next agenda. But with that, I will introduce Buddy Johnsey to present the library audit.
I usually do. I make some notes regarding the financial statements as you see them there on the audit as of and for the year ended September 30, 2024. The library's net position increased to $168,933 in this fiscal year as compared to last year's decrease of sales by $250,000 and expenses increased by approximately $5,000. The increase in revenues is primarily attributable to increases in intergovernmental grants, appropriations, and investment return. The increase in expenses is due to various positive and negative changes in expenditures. Net position at year end amounted to $4,031,791. At the fund financial statement level, revenues increased approximately $250,000, while expenditures decreased by approximately $66,000. An increase in fund balance of $281,558 as compared to the prior year's decrease in fund balance of $34,664. Fund balance at year end amounted to $2,345,188. During the fiscal year, capital expenditures, furniture, fixtures, equipment, improvements, and construction in progress amounted to approximately $23,000, and the overall value of the library's collection increased by approximately $58,000. Net capital assets decreased by approximately $59,000 after the effect of the current year's depreciation expense. We've issued our auditor's communication to those charging governments, you, and our communication with internal control related matters identified in our audit, which report material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, and other deficiencies in internal control. We appreciate again the opportunity to provide the audit services to the library. Thank Abby, Anita, and your entire staff, our Fritz and Associates, and Shane Walsh, and their assistance and cooperation during the audit. Questions? Please feel free to reach out.
Sounds good. We appreciate all of your time on this. Do y'all see any questions? Before I know y'all have been in communication for a while, going through it all.
We did go to the well during this time.
One thing we know about today is the depreciation schedule that Patterson Prince has maintained. But in our work with ICS, they were interested in knowing more of how that's tracked, and certain technology items have asset tags. And so Buddy sent over this year's depreciation schedule, and so we're going to be taking a look at that, trying to clean up some items that maybe are still on there that have been removed, that are 20 years old or more.
Yeah, some of the computer equipment from 2003
It's gotta be
probably not here.
right.
So
Hopefully we can work with ICS to kind of inventory that list and clean it up going forward.
yeah, it would be a good control to put into place.
Right.
Tagging items, I mean, even furniture, fixtures, and things like that you've purchased. I mean, realistically, they're not going. Nobody's going to get out of the building with this table,
Right.
but that iPad could be easily walked off with without some kind of. And then, I know you probably check those things out. You've got internal controls about related to that, but tagging those items that we capitalize, anything over $1,000, tagging those items, and then making an inventory. I mean, taking certain areas or certain types of equipment once a year, twice a year, however often they're going to do that, go through and make sure everything's still on the list. So, the depreciation schedule, as I said, would only include any any single item that costs $1,000 or more. In these days of technology, you can buy those iPads now for $300 or $500, so they don't get capitalized as a piece of computer equipment, like we would, a server or a 3D printer or things like that we have in the past. And so that would be one way to keep maintaining that. As I was talking, mentioned to her, you'd have to have a kind of a separate spreadsheet for those items that didn't meet that threshold. Looking at that appreciation schedule there would have to be several computers on there that are no longer with us. So, but that's something you have to be proactive about, and not a lot of people. You're not the only entity that kind of goes by the wayside. So that's very common. Once they get fully depreciated, it doesn't really have any value. Doesn't show any value on your financial statements. It just would be a matter of cleaning up that stuff. Yeah, it's really have a better idea of what do I really have versus calculate as.
Okay, I'll let them know. I got your message. Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm not sure I responded, but yeah.
And I usually tell people that you need something for insomnia.
Thanks for our reading material.
Yeah, it's great. It'll put you to sleep pretty quick. I guess for those of you who might not be familiar with the financial statements, there are two sets of financial statements in there. A fund level financial statement on the modified accrual basis based on governmental revenues and governmental expenditures. And then 25-ish years ago, the guys came out and said, well, let's convert that fund level financial statement to a what they call government-wide, and we'll go with the full accrual method. So where we would have capital expenditures for everything we wrote a check for a computer or a server or whatever, that would be an expenditure at the fund level. It goes on the balance sheet, take the net position at the government-wide level. So there's a conversion from one to the other. Of course, there's also at the government-wide level, we also thank the Gatsby for the ability to put our pension liability on there. So, which for most people it's a big negative number, and it has a significant impact on net position and can swing wildly from year to year. So that's the weird part about that. The sad part about that is we don't really know what the effect is until the RSA tells us what it is, and we have to record it, and the expenses may shoot at $500,000, or they may go down $500,000. You just never know. It's all based on the actuarial evaluations that are performed, and how well the investment performed at RSA overall, since you're included as a part of the bigger picture. But they actually do a separate valuation for the library as compared to the teacher's retirement system, where the entire state is one actuarial evaluation. They actually do a separate one for the library, which is a total employer plan. So I've only got one client that has a pension asset, so that's a very rare thing. So most of the time it's a net pension liability.
Was it easier dealing with the general fund office this time as opposed to how we've done it before in the past? Was there any difference?
I would say mixed reviews on that.
Okay.
I had one quarter at one place and 3/4 at another place, so I'm hopeful that
This
it
next
will all
year,
be,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
We had conversion from Patterson Prince to the city was a bit messy. We had to do some cleanup there to get things on track, and so hopefully now we've done that, so we'll be on track there for next year. But of course, most of that, the information comes from y'all, and always turn it around very quickly. We appreciate that. Got ourselves a good time this past year. We anticipate doing it in future years. So, not the first time. Spring break is called.
Yeah.
Last week of March, I'm like, oh, no. Some people get spring break.
Yeah. I can take off spring break. Not your field.
Not my life. Spring break or President's Day or go to Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
None of my folks
That's
do
high
food
season.
crunch stuff.
Yeah.
My goal is to go to Mardi Gras, but I'll be 75 years old. So that rolls around. So.
Well, does anybody have any questions or comments or anything?
I don't think so.
But
Thank you.
again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it again, the opportunity.
I'll read through this. Let it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, good to see you.
I'll take care. Thank you very much.
So next on the agenda, old business, we have an action item, approval of the April minutes. Has everybody gotten a chance to look at those? Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All in favor? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Next item is the April 2025 financial statement review.
So this is as of the other day, on the 9th, I updated it, and we are showing most of the third quarter appropriations are reflected in this report. So city, county, state, Friends, Morgan Stanley, all of that is showing there. As far as expenses, you'll notice, of course, now under accounting and auditing, we did pay for the audit, so our expenses are higher from that. Also, we had our new janitorial service start May 1st, so you'll remember that their monthly fee will go up a little bit, so we'll see that starting. And then capital expenses is showing, of course, our outdoor space construction, and we have now paid our second payment to Craig Construction. So most recently it was $110,308.35. And so those were the main items I had to report on that, but I'll answer any questions.
Don't see anything.
Prior to, I guess, a few days before, she had entered in the third quarter appropriations. It was showing a negative at the end, but then once those third quarters were added, it cleaned that up. But I figured most of that was from the outdoor space, the capital expenditures, because we were pulling those out of those previous gifts that we had already received. So we weren't receiving revenues on this year and then spending them on this year. We were spending what we received in past years. So I was attributing that difference to that project. But now with the third quarter,
Yeah, because I assume that will throw us off some
it might
at the end, yeah.
Right. That's what I'm,
Since we don't have it on the
Anticipating.
budget, but we, yeah,
but at least we know.
we know
that's
where
why.
it's coming from.
Right.
Anybody see any questions?
Yeah, it looks to be not directly related to the financials. I I realize it's only been about 13 days, but the janitorial transition, did that go smoothly?
I think it has, they're still learning where things are, what needs, they're gonna really be tested this weekend, because it's on July weekend. So they can initiate it really well this weekend. I think so far it's been going pretty good.
Will they come on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yes, they
okay.
clean every day of the week.
Okay, even.
Do we have them coming in extra time? Or-
I can, yeah. I just talked to Rick and Nancy and they kind of freshen the bathrooms up throughout the day. I do it myself.
I don't think so, it's just regular.
Do you just want to segue on into the director's report?
Okay, so, I think everybody knows, but May is usually a lighter programming month as we prepare for summer reading. So in just a minute, we'll have the people involved in summer reading come in and do a report on what they have planned. We do have Robert Bailey scheduled for next Tuesday. This is part of his tour of his new book, The Boomerang, and this is a Friends co-sponsored event. So William Smith reached out to Robert Bailey's publicist and got that coordinated for us. Hopefully we'll have a good crowd for that. And then summer reading registration starts next week, hard to believe, and then we'll have programming for 6 weeks, so June 2nd through July 12th. We have our beginner computer series going this month as well. As far as the outdoor space, PSI let us know that the furniture did arrive to their warehouse. I need to schedule a meeting with Hat and Jason to kind of get an update on the timeline for all of that. Last we heard the pergolas are scheduled to be completed around May 27th, and then shipping coordinated after that. The instruments are installed on the children's side. They look great.
They do look really good. We drove by, the kids saw them all and got real excited.
Yeah.
Ellis wanted to come play immediately. He's like, what's going on?
I'm really hoping that Make Music Day is coming up in June, and so if it's finished, I reached out to the percussion professor at UNA to see if some students could come play our instruments for Make Music Day. Haven't heard from him, but then today I was thinking I could try the symphony also,
Yeah.
because I think that would be
Who
really
did you
cool.
reach out to?
Tracy Wiggins,
Okay.
that's the I've worked with him before.
Okay.
Maybe it's just
That's a tough talent.
I think the percussion director.
oh, we try that.
Yeah.
Who was that? Yeah,
I can
try
see his
that.
face just as clear, but
Okay.
Yeah, those kids look excited too.
I think that'd be really cool. So anyway, we're getting there slowly but surely. The pergolas were kind of the last thing, and they had said they could even just fill in those holes so we could go ahead and do a ribbon cutting if we wanted to, but maybe they'll go ahead and come on in because they're still. They still got to do the turf and the plants and move the picnic table, and they're still a part of things.
I believe at our last meeting, there was an issue with the windows above the new doors.
Right.
Is that incorrect?
That's the main reason I think we haven't been able to get an official timeline. It's because they were waiting on Quality Glass as the subcontractor for that, that they're waiting to hear from. And I think rather than replacing all of the glass, they can just add more of those mullions, the bars to space it out better. So I think that's the plan. We haven't met in a few weeks with them, so I was going to reach out and see if we could meet this week because I feel like we're due for an update from the architect and our contractor. I think since that day you came, we haven't.
Yeah.
That's been two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about, it's not on my report, but facility, we did get the window tinting completed upstairs, so in local history, Lee's really excited. He can already tell a difference on the heat coming in from the windows.
We drove by to look at it. I couldn't
Can't really
tell, with the blinds and stuff. It was also a little later in the day.
It was kind of gray.
Yeah, it was kind of darker. It wasn't streetlights probably weren't quite on yet,
Okay.
but it was close in there. But,
Right.
Yeah. I thought
Mr.
it was
Torbert's
fine.
also bought a cabinet, an additional map cabinet, because we were out of space on that, so
Okay.
he was all excited about that.
Good, good.
He would like to get a stepping stool, but I was talking to him about the gallery out there. I was like, I'm just gonna keep you off of the stepping stool. He's 80-something years old. I'm like, oh, I need a stepping stool. He wanted something with hands and open stuff that he could climb up to get to the cabinet. I'm like, just get a young person.
To take
The
the
space
shit.
is too small for
Yeah,
that.
it is too small back there.
Well, that's very nice.
You just mentioned the street lights, and I know I haven't been involved in the outdoor projects from the beginning. There are lamp posts laying out. Those are those being reinstalled
Yes,
somewhere?
they're being reinstalled where they were.
Okay,
Oh,
just
that's
have to
right.
take down for construction.
Right, they may shift slightly, but pretty much. And we met with the mayor and Jackie about the social work position. It went well, I think they're open to more conversations. It's not really, I think, a time of year that they can just say, here's the funding for it, with elections in the middle of this year, and also kind of left it as we'll continue talking about it. The social work department did put together an impact study. I can send that all to you. Of course, Sailor's impact in that position on the community, so I should have brought that, but I'll send that out. And then we've added several part-timers for the summer to help us since it is our busy time coming up. The Friends are doing not a full Arts Alive tent sale, but they're doing a simplified version with a table outside, directing people to come in for the bookstore sale, and then also to help promote membership and what that means and how they support the library. So they're putting that together, and also some signage. I think they've ended up with more of kind of yard signage that they can put out there. Especially, people still just don't know that the bookstore exists. So even regular library patrons, so they just wanted something that they can put out when there's a half price sale, but then bring it back in when they need to, just informing people of it. So that's the purpose of this. We also met with Shanika Bird is on our Friends board, and so she worked to find us an intern for the Friends bookstore starting in the fall. So it is a UNA marketing student, and so she'll be able to focus more on social media content for them. They want to have video tours of the space, featuring different collections and things, featuring different volunteers and what they do. So we met with her right before she was in Huntsville, Normal, so she's going home for the summer. But she's really excited, and so she'll start in the fall. Her mom actually is on the library board in Huntsville, so I thought that was cool. And like Kate Cornelison. And then as far as state and federal, APLS did receive half of their funding from IMLS. I think we were all sort of shocked by that, but we've been given the go-ahead to work on our LSTA grants. So Jolene's been ordering 100 books and putting other book orders together. So that is the project. It's a collection development to enhance certain unique collections, teens and middle grade, and also the emerging adults, wonder books, our books for babies. So that's $18,000. And we also heard from PLDAA that the legislative session is almost over, so the two bills that have been filed regarding libraries pretty much are gone. So there is a PLDAA meeting Thursday, so I'll hopefully log in for that. The APLS board met last week. We did receive an official definition of sexually explicit. So what I typed into the report came from the news stories that were issued. Then yesterday we got a letter from the APLS board chair, pretty much the same thing. They were also discussing, there was a proposal at that meeting to also move books from children into sections dealing with gender ideology. That was kind of left as the board would read that guys, there was a big, Darlene put a note in red on there, but there was a big item purge, so she's just trying to clean up so that what is being reflected in the online catalog is accurate with what is on the shelf, of course, and so that, of course, affects the items in the collection and that sort of thing. A lot of numbers kind of saw a little dip. I don't know what all the reasons for that are. We did cancel a family night picnic due to weather, so that typically would have been a couple hundred people that would have come to a program that may have varied from last year on program attendance. Everything else kind of little dips and then plateaus, so hopefully we'll see some increases as we get into summer. We normally see our highest traffic and usage in the summer.
I don't think so. I don't have any questions. Appreciate it.
Our staff is out here ready to
Okay.
go there.
Morning, getting out of bed.
Intimidated by the board.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
How are you all?
Right.
You don't ride for real? Okay.
Have a seat.
Do you want us to sit with you?
Yes.
All right. Last time I was in here, we sat at the table. And when you sat at the table, I think it random off of your brother. So.
Oh, my goodness.
Is that even cool here?
It's always cold in here. I grab
Works, it
an
works.
extra jacket.
Yeah.
Keeps you awake.
Yeah.
I guess the others ran off.
All right, it's not good if your director has to come get you.
How's it going?
Hello, good. How are you?
Doing good.
Wherever.
Sit down in his chair. See?
Yeah. Hello. How are y'all doing? Good. How are you? Good. Hey. Yeah, we were good.
I'm the next one. She's got that one.
That was wonderful.
I knew that's what I do at restaurants too. I'm like, where's my food? I'll
Well, of course, we have a lot of people that it takes to work on summer reading. So do we want to start with children's and then go through in order?
Sure.
So Jessica will share about youth services. And McKinley is split, you'll know, between youth services and teens. So we'll let her talk about middle grade next too.
Alright, so what y'all are getting right now is the brochure, or the booklet that we give out to all of the families that participate in summer reading. We start registration this Monday, the 19th, I can't believe it. And so they will get that then. Inside their booklet in the back is a book log, and they can record the books that they read or that someone reads to them during the summer. For each book that they read, they earn tickets. For feature books, they earn 1 ticket. For those longer chapter books, they get extra tickets for those. And then they use their tickets in our summer reading prize tour. We have prizes that start at 2 tickets all the way up to 100. They can also use their tickets for grand prize entries. It takes 1 ticket to get 1 grand prize entry. We have a different prize every week for 6 weeks, and all of those were donated. Then we'll get started with everything June the 2nd. That is when the prize store opens, so there will be lots of excited kids about what they have already decided that they are going to buy with their tickets that they will get that day. And our activities also start that day. Our theme this year is Color Our World. So we have, on Mondays, we're going to do a create and take. So each week we will focus on a different artist, and they will make their own masterpieces that are inspired by that artist. We also have, we do programs every day. Monday through Friday, we have 2 programs. On Tuesday, we also have a family trivia night. So 3 programs on Tuesday, and then on the weekends, we just do 1 program each. So we've got the create and take, that's one that we're excited about. Nature's Color Wheel, we're going to talk about a different color each week and things in nature that you might see that start with that, or that are that color. So we're excited about that one. That one's going to be geared more towards younger children. McKinley is actually the bridge between youth services and teens, so she'll do 8, 9, 10. That's one that we ran through the school year, so we're doing the summer edition to keep that momentum going with the kids that she's brought in for that program. On Wednesdays, we'll do Story Time Favorites, and in the afternoon, we will have a partnership with Alabama 4-H to do a STEM class. Thursdays is our classic Young Stories. We do a Eventbrite registration for that one because it is a very popular thing. So we are limited to just 24 spaces in the morning and in the afternoon, so they get their Eventbrite pass for that the week before. On Fridays, we do baby class in the morning and book bingo. We just play regular bingo, but they win books. Saturday is Saturday Stories, and Sunday we'll have Lego Fun. We also have a junior volunteer program, so we have about 50 kids starting. They can do that starting after the 4th grade. So we have about 50 kids that are going to come in and help us out this summer. We started calling them yesterday and giving them their shifts, and we'll get them trained at the end of May. And it's just going to be a fun, busy, wild, super quick summer.
Yes.
We look forward to it every year. So if y'all have any questions about the children's program,
This looks great. I love the full book.
yeah, that's the whole
did a
thing.
great job. It looks great.
Kinley, you want to talk about yours?
Yeah, like Miss just said, I'm split. I'm a middle grade specialist, so I'll be helping out over in youth services half the time, teen department half the time. In youth services, I'm leading my own program, Miss just said, 8, 9, 10. All kinds of fun things planned. That last week is Shark Week, so Shark Week fun, we're making ice cream in a bag, which is something a lot of the kids said they haven't done before. Crafts and all other things. Within the teen department, I'm doing my Get Crafty program, and each week we do a different craft. That's one we also had during the school year, and we're just bringing it through to the summer to build momentum. And this is the first time I'm helping out with the teen program. So the one program I'm most excited about is the Gourmet Gallery, which is our food program. And they get to try to recreate one of these artists' famous masterpieces with food, candy. The other interesting thing is we are introducing a mini prize store for the teens. So things like bookmarks, pencils, like mini ducks. We are very excited, and we bet they're going to be very excited about it. But I think that's all I'm going to mention about as the in-between.
Awesome. Thank you.
So we've got one of the programs I'm most excited about for the older teens is Whimsical Workshop, which is our crafting program for the older teens. We're doing, I know one day we're doing pressed flowers on a jar, so they have like a nice little nightlight to keep them nice and kind of warm during the night. We're also, another program I'm really excited about is Bad Art Fridays, because a lot of our teens are perfectionists, and so I wanted to break them from that mold and be like, encourage them to do bad art and just be creative instead of trying to make something that they get really frustrated about because it's not perfect. And then we're also doing D&D for both older teens and middle grade teens. The older teens are going to be able to like steal some art from the museum while the younger teens are protecting art from the museum. So I thought that would be a nice little interesting, and Anthony's helping me with that. And then I'm having our old social work intern, Sailor. She's going to help me with a Tiny Tunes Club where she teaches kids how to play the ukulele, because art's not just art, it's also music. And I think the only other thing is the reading log for this year is a nice color by number that Anthony created. It's beautiful. I should have bought a little nice copy of it, but me and McKinley are featured in it, and they get to color us in. And some nice teen jokes that the teens have made, like the puppet that I created that they really love is in it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm doing my writing class again this year, and since this summer is more like focused on visual art, I'm going to try and work that into the sessions where, like, for example, I always do one on character creation, where I teach them basically how to do really detailed characters, like backstories, and give them like layers as characters. And since we're doing the visual stuff, I'm going to get them to draw their characters as well. And then also I always do a scavenger hunt where I teach them how to navigate the nonfiction collection upstairs and look for inspiration in the books upstairs. So since it's art theme this year, I'm going to get them to focus on finding art books and pieces of art that they can use to inspire a short story. And I'll be doing poetry and stuff with them too. We're going to be doing our Game On Jeopardy game. It's our live Jeopardy game show that we do every year. The questions will be art themed, so we'll see how well they know famous painters and pieces of art. Michelle used to be the rival team captain, but she's graduated to host now. So Salem and social workers will be my rival this time. The teams are very competitive. They have a lot of fun. And then I'll also be doing, for another one of the Game On sessions, I'll be bringing my retro game consoles in because the teams always love that. So I bring in like my Super Nintendo, Sega, all that. And a lot of them really much. A lot of them get into those games, but they've only played them on like the Switch and stuff like that. So, but no, yeah, they always look forward to that. So, yeah, those are the ones I know.
The adult summer reading program is a bit more passive than the kids' one. Primarily, they will have a reading log, which is also colored by numbers. I would like to point out, I came up with that idea.
That's real pretty.
I came up with that idea at the same time as the teens, but I did not copy them. I was so excited. They were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, well, great, awesome." So Anthony has made this. Each of the steps that they'll do to get a color is about half of them are reading related, and half of them are, one visit a museum, stuff like that. Try to get them out in the community a little bit, and also give people who don't just read a lot of chances to earn prizes. We're going to have either 3 or 4, depending on how I group up the donations. There'll be drawings, so you'll do this, you'll get tickets to it, you'll enter the drawing, we'll draw it then in the summer. The other option people are going to have to enter into the drawing is to bring us their artwork. We're going to have, I let people bring, I'm just going to make it general and just kind of take anything they want. And we're going to put it around the library. I am working on a form that'll say, do you want this back at the end of the summer or not? And I'm probably going to put a deadline for when that will be. They can come get it back or else it becomes ours. So that'll be the 2 ways that adults will be able to participate.
And then Anthony's still life sketch.
Yes. I've led a program before, but this will be the first program for adults. I'll lead a still life sketching class for beginners, just to sort of get them into drawing, get them comfortable with having, just how to build out how a drawing from like scratch, how to build out a drawing from the very beginning. And I don't want it to be too intensive. It's going to be for beginners, but there'll be a few spread out during the summer. So maybe as the summer goes along, maybe I'll sort of introduce maybe more complicated elements as we go along. But that'll be a program I'll be running this summer. Also, as people have already mentioned at this table, that I've created the booklets, the brochure for the teens that I forgot to bring down here, and the reading logs for the adults and the teens. And I wish I would have brought the teens as well. That is a bit more complicated than what's going on here. Since it's for the teens, there's like many more prompts that they have to work with. So we'll help to keep them really busy this summer with that. And next up, with all the print material pretty much out of the way now, I'll be moving on to promoting all the summer reading programs we have coming up on social media.
He does all the graphic designs that you see on our website, so that's good. The other thing for adults, Brianna Pikes will be doing a scrapbook journaling workshop for 2 Saturdays in June and 2 Saturdays in July. So we'll have them registered for that. And she has been doing this for years, and she buys in bulk. Evidently, she has a lot of supplies, so she is donating everything. So that way they can come and they can just come and do it. So we won't have to worry about it. Although we will have registration for it, so we won't get overwhelmed. But She has all the supplies we need. This other little thing here is what adults will be doing. They'll be doing miniature painting, miniature art. We're going to hand these out. They can come and register for these. We're going to have paint classes here. They can just stay here and paint in case they don't have any paint at home. And they can paint the little miniature canvases. And it's called Tiny Art Exhibition. So we're going to have an exhibition for them when it's done. Those who want to participate, and we'll show off their art for them. And then participating will give them an entry into the prize drawings. So we will display these when we're done.
Great. I have one that's even smaller than that on
Some
my
are
nightstand.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
These
like
are
a
4 by
little,
4.
I don't know, emo thumbprint.
Oh.
Wow. Pre-K. Yeah. They're special.
Yeah, those
Those
are
are
real
keep
cute.
around. Yeah. That's a great size. Oh, it's going to be a busy summer.
Following summer reading, then we have STEAM Camp that we're partnering with Arts and Museums to host for 11 to 18-year-olds. So we have a younger group, 11 to 14, that is already full as far as registration. And then the older group still has spaces, but a lot of the staff in here are helping with that. Let's see, Caleb and Michelle and Sailor are doing claymation, and Anthony and McKinley are helping Arts and Museums with graphic design. I'm helping with printmaking. I have to be trained on that. And then Lee and Brian and Jordan are doing artifacts. And so the idea is that they'll learn about the artifacts, but then we will use our 3D printer for them to create their own artifacts after they learn the historical components of it. So that'll be in mid-July after summer reading, but before Uni Fest. So it'll be a busy couple months. Lots of fun, and it goes by fast.
Yeah.
August, we're shutting the doors.
Yeah. Everybody starts signing up for paperwork. Yeah. Days off. Yeah. Well, thank y'all for all y'all do. This looks so nice, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, thank y'all. Thank you. They've done great. Very well. It's going to be real fun.
I'll get a copy of the team stuff. Sorry.
Jessica sent me the stuff for the summer. So we've already kind of got it.
Yeah.
They told me now they were 6th grade. That I need to.
Oh, to move them up to the teens.
You got the big kids there too.
All right, moving on down the agenda, the next item of new business is an action item, the computer use policy and CIPA compliance.
So this is kind of just a formality, but we did, every year we have to resubmit our CIPA compliance form, and it's part of our Alabama supercomputer provides our internet, so it all is packaged together. And so they like for us to review our policy, allow the public to attend the meeting if they would like to speak about it. And so I wanted to do that, but also I realized since this policy was approved in late August, we made a change with our printing to the print service as opposed to people just sending it to an email account. So I highlighted that change. So if y'all just want to review it and then just seeking approval for that change, and also just review the CIPA compliant portions at the end.
Okay, so just the highlighted printing section.
Yeah, that's the only
substantive
change.
change.
Yes. But it's just each year we're supposed to review our CIPA compliance.
Everybody had a chance to review it. Are there any comments or questions? Is there a motion out there to approve? All in favor? Abby, tell us a little bit about our next action item, the Culture City certification.
Yes. So I attended educational, the libraries were saying they had already gone through the certification, and the very next day after the training, they already felt like they could better assist their patrons after what they had learned. So I reached out to Culture City. This is the pricing annually, and then of course it's a little lower the second year. But it includes 5 sensory bags that we could have in-house for people to use when they come. And those bags include 3 different fidget options, noise-canceling headphones, strobe glasses, cue cards, an emotion thermometer, and then we would also have the weighted lap pad. And so they could just come in and request that. They emphasize too that it's not just for children, because a lot of the time adults with dementia or Alzheimer's or other health issues could also benefit from the items in the bags. Part of it too is that we would develop what they call a social story specific to our venue or our location about what we offer, and so then parents or families who are seeking out places that are certified can see our library listed and know that we have been trained to be able to help their needs. And then there's the app that would go along with that. And so part of the ongoing fee too is as they come up with new training, and I think this AI app is newer, so as they keep adding to their services, we would receive the training with that annual fee to stay up to date on what they're offering as well. So I just wanted to tell, I was excited about it. Jessica sat in with me on the meeting too and loved it. So we thought that we can do the training online, but also they said they could come in person and it would only take an hour or so. So we thought that people just pay attention better in person. So we could do it as a group, maybe after summer reading, and then be prepared in the fall to be able to offer this to our community.
I think that's really a good asset. And great training tools too.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so too. We do have to have 50% of the staff trained to receive the official certification in the bags.
You do it in person, will they follow up and give you the link to do it for those that couldn't attend?
I would think so.
I would think
It
so,
seemed like
too.
they were pretty open to
Yeah.
however
However
we
you
do
need it, yeah.
So normally we have staff meetings on Fridays anyway, so we thought if we did this on a Friday, maybe start a little earlier than 9, we'd be finished before we open at 10
Yeah.
and could do it together.
I think it sounds good. I don't mind. Do we need a motion? I can make a motion to move forward with it.
Yeah, right there. You
Any
guys have any
questions?
questions or comments? I share Aunt Taylor's sentiment. I think anything we can do to be more inclusive, to better support perhaps our underserved patrons for myriad reasons, I think it's a good thing, and I think the price in the grand scheme of things is pretty nominal. So yeah.
Okay, on that motion.
All in favor? Aye. And that, unless I'm mistaken, kind of brings us to the end of the new business portion. The proposed next meeting is Tuesday, June 10th at 1 p.m.
And that's just our standing.
Yeah, which is kind of the second Tuesday.
I think that works for me at the moment. Does that work for everybody else?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
All right. Well, then, if I can't pick it up.